Hola. Sorry, I got work stuffs to do, but I didn't want to forget to sign in and stuff. What's going on, yo? I gotta find something to talk about here real quick. What? It's probably not gonna turn up in my emails or my texts. Why do I keep pushing the wrong button? I don't know. Habit, I guess. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Nope. All right. Hi, Chew. How you doing? Hey, Eric. What is happening? Oops, wrong button. I've been wrong buttoning a lot lately. It's Pat Benatar on 107.7 The Bone. I'm Nikki Blakk, and speaking of heartbreaking, it looks like people who were loving the Iron Maiden role-playing online game are going to be bummed because Legacy of the Beast is officially ending at the end of this year. Now, the game developers have said that it's been a crazy wild ride and that they will be working with Iron Maiden in the future, but they're ending this game. And I'm not entirely sure why, because it was really successful. So if you were playing Legacy of the Beast, and more importantly, if you had some money parked inside the Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast game, it expires on New Year's Eve. All right, now I got a couple of minutes. Shoulda. So yeah, we were talking about this Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast thing yesterday, where it's like it's a successful game, right? It's an online computer game. It had all these they kept having like special guests, like every band with a mascot has had that mascot appear in Legacy of the Beast, whether it was Megadeth or I think was Lamb of God in there. So now I'm going to blank on mascots. In Flames had a mascot in there. Basically, any band, any metal band that could produce a character that could fight with or against Eddie collabed on that game, and I thought it was super popular. But nope, they're ending it on New Year's Eve. So, and I don't know how, because no gaming for me, not for a long time. But so I guess people are putting real money into these video games so that they can buy stuff while they're in the game, and people have money in the game that they can't get back. So hopefully nobody like just uploaded a bunch of cash thinking that they were going to spend it over the next year or something, because they're not getting it back and they're going to have to buy it. They're going to have to spend it all in game in the next couple of weeks. Like somebody's in there right now, just like, to hell with it. I'm buying everything. Somebody's getting like super jacked up with all their like in-game options right now, I think. But still, bummer. This seems to be like the characteristic of 2024 is like everything's closing. Did you see Stoli is going out of business? Stolichnaya Vodka. I guess are they going out of business or are they filing bankruptcy? Let me double check. Derpity derp derp derp. But I was like, is there a clearance sale? Because if Stoli's having a clearance sale, I will turn the fuck up. Let's see. Stoli. Oh, they're filing for Chapter 11. Which one is Chapter 11? Is that reorganization or bankruptcy protection? God, pop-ups are the bane of my existence, right? Andy, hey. Well, yeah, it wouldn't hurt to drink all your Stoli before the new year, but you're funny. Do you play Legacy of the Beast, the Iron Maiden game? Is that in your gaming repertoire? Oh, Kentucky Owl has also filed for bankruptcy, the whiskey. Um, you know what? I think that if I remember correctly, these companies all got bought by like a local distillery conglomerate that didn't know how to manage them. This is the problem when somebody buys a brand and doesn't know what they're doing. Kartik, hey, what's going on? Oh, you haven't played that one? Well, what I'm saying, Andy, is you're going to have to stock up on your Stoli because who knows what's going to happen. Although chapter 11, I think is the protection one. It's the one where they go into bankruptcy and come back out. Or is that 13 that's reorganization? Which one did all the radio stations file a couple years back? What was that? 2017, I think. 2017 was the year of like Cumulus, Clear Channel. I forget which ones, but I know Cumulus and Clear Channel both went into bankruptcy like within a year of each other around 2017, 2018. Hey, Cornette, what's up, girl? I know, ain't none of us getting rich. Not at all. 11 is protection. Odyssey just went through that this year. Yeah, how did they survive longer than Cumulus and Clear Channel? Oh, because they had their merger was like late in the game, wasn't it? Oh, radio. I love it, but it's a mess. A mess. Who doesn't like vodka once in a while, right? I mean, unless you got a problem with it, in which case I'm not advocating alcoholics use alcohol. I'm just saying I like it a lot. Yeah, Kartik, where are you? The cost of living is a lot for everybody everywhere, I think. I mean, I just called the garbage company today because I was pissed. I was like, how my garbage going to go up $13? That's like a 20% raise in my garbage. And I called and I was like, seriously, like, what is the deal? How are you raising rates 20%? And she's like, oh, we didn't actually. We raised rates by 10%, but we did it last month after we'd already billed you. So you were billed this prorated raised amount. So because I'd already paid my $62 for the last cycle of garbage, and then they raised the rates in the in-between month, I ended up just getting the raise. They billed me for the amount that it got raised. So there was like a $5 balance that carried over to this month. So apparently my garbage has gone from $62 to $70. And the extra $5 was like just some bullshit. Hey, Joe. You know what? I'll be honest with you. Real moonshine is a delight. However, there are some moonshines out there being marketed that are not good. They're not like real moonshine. I don't know what they are. I think they're like commercial distilled moonshine, which isn't moonshine. It's really just bad tasting alcohol. But pickle moonshine is one of my very favorite things of all time. Sorry, guys. That was the boss texting, and I need to do a thing here for her real quick. Okay, and then this, but this needs to be for this. Did I tell you guys I forgot my locker combination and I still can't get in to get my hoodies out? I tried again today. I walked by and I thought, maybe I remember it. Let me check this out. And I tried a couple of options and nope, no dice. Okay, that is done. Now let me make sure it's done over here. And it's done over here. Excellent. Okay. Cool. Oh, I do have to make sure this happens. All right. Oh, Canada. Oh, yeah. Canada's always like. But also, your dollars are different. So for us, it's almost like breaking even, right? Andy, I don't know how we still have jobs. It's really confusing. And honestly, I'm still not 100% convinced that I do have a job. I just show up every day and check my card key at the door. And this is absolutely true, right? I walk in and I look around because I figure if it's going to happen like before my shift or after my shift. So I walk around, you know, and then if I don't see anybody like waiting for me in the studio, I'm like, we're good. And then at the end of my shift, if nobody's come by to say, hey, drop by my office on your way out, I know I'm good. I'll never forget the day I got bumped to nights. The guy who was in charge of the cluster at that point, what was his name? Oh God. He was one of those OMs that only did like 2 years, I think, and he came from KFOG. You know that guy, Andy. You know what I'm talking about. But he was on KFOG at the time, I think. He was like doing a KFOG shift or something. He comes up and he goes, hey, can you come see me at the end of your shift? And I was like, dude, I'm going to see, it was like Motley Crue and somebody else were playing at the Bill Graham Civic. And I was like, so I ran back downstairs to KFOG on it when I had a break. And I was like, hey man, his name was Bill, I think. I was like, do I really need to come and like have a meeting with you afterwards? I said, I'm running over to the Bill Graham Civic for Motley Crue right after my shift. And, can we do this tomorrow? And he was like, no, we should do it today. It won't take very long. And I was like, all right, I'm going to track my last break and I'll come meet you. So I did my whole shift. I tracked the last break. I went downstairs and it's him and like Val Garris sitting there and they're like, hey, so great news. We've decided to hire a program director and Cumulus has a new policy where like all the program directors have to take a shift and he's going to do afternoons. And I was like, but I do afternoons. And it was funny because they were kind of trying to neg me at first. They were like, so afternoons have been down. And I was like, no, they're not. They're up. And they're like, well, overall afternoons are down. And I'm like, no, overall afternoons are still up. I go, I'm consistently in the top 3 with men 18 to 49. I'm not sure what you're looking at. And they're like, well, the afternoon shift ratings wise trails the morning and midday shift. And I'm like, well, yeah, but we also know that there are more listeners in the afternoon shift. So it's actually the same slice of a bigger pie. What are you getting at? And that's when they were like, so we're hiring a program director. And great news, the program director is going to take an air shift and we're giving him afternoons. And I was like, but I'm on afternoons. And they're like, great news, you're not being fired. We're going to keep you at your same rate and give you the night shift. And I was like, do I look stupid? Did you think this was going to work? Did you think you were going to be like, great news, we're not firing you and you're doing nights? Like, we're demoting you, but you should be thrilled by this. And I was just like, the fuck? And they're like, well, I mean, and I was like, what choice do I have in this? And they're like, well, I mean, you could quit. And I was like, well, I'm not going to quit. And they were like, well, those are your choices. And I was like, uh-huh. Huh. So at this point, you never know in radio, dude. It's always like that. Somebody will just be like, "Oh, hey, come by my office after your shift." If anybody ever says that to you in radio, just know that you're getting shit canned. Just start putting stuff in your purse right now. I'm kidding. I don't advocate stealing from the company. Also, the company doesn't have anything I want. Well, except for this microphone, which I'm told I can't have, so I'm not taking. Hey, Alan. Happy hump day. I'm not a hump day kind of person. Like, nah. It doesn't feel like hump day. I like to wait until Thursday night. And then on Thursday night, I'm like, it's basically Friday. I'm that person. The rest of the time, it's like still slogging through the week. Dan, you want Uzo? I'm not mad at Uzo. I did nail your name. I'm so proud of me. Because usually I butcher names. Or sometimes I do. Not always. Hey, Mike. Oh, yeah. It's definitely Econ 101. Inflation happened because we had to print money during the pandemic because somebody had a trade war that kept inflation rates that kept the Fed with artificially deflated rates. And so when the Fed raised rates, the Fed never raised rates. And then we had to print all this money, which left us no place to lower rates to stimulate the economy. So instead of lowering rates to stimulate the economy, we printed money to stimulate the economy and then gave it to everybody. And it worked, but then it produced inflation. The garbage company is basically a monopoly. I mean, if I wanted to, I could take my own garbage, but it's not going to happen. No, not for like, I think it's $70 every 2 months. Ah, shush. Thank you, though. Appreciate it. Joe, you only drink the real moonshine? I would like to only drink real moonshine, but there's some commercial stuff. And in fact, there's an old bottle of it here in the studio. And they actually did commercials on the bone in the way back when I was here the first time. And I think I got to do a thing. And I tried it and I was like, oh, this is awful. This isn't moonshine, because I had real moonshine. Bands would come through the South and stock up on moonshine while they were driving through the South. And then by the time they got here, they'd still have a couple of mason jars left. And I got to try it. It was delightful. But the stuff that somebody made that was moonshine, that was called moonshine, was awful. "1077 The Bone" and Aerosmith with "Dude Looks Like a Lady." I'm Nikki Blakk, and it does seem like 2024 is the year of things getting canceled. Joey Kramer from Aerosmith has had to stop making his coffee. So if you were a fan of the Rock and Roasters or a subscriber to the Rock and Roastin' Coffee, your last shipment has shipped, and you're going to have to find coffee elsewhere. Maybe Green Day's Punk Buddy. I mean, I'm a fan of the Punk Bunny. I haven't tried the Rock and Roasters, and now I never can. Sad face. But yeah, I had pickle moonshine and it was the best thing ever. I did a moonshine flight. Is that a thing? I did a moonshine flight when I was in Nashville one time. I had I was flying back from Bonnaroo, and I don't know if you know, but Bonnaroo is like way up north. North? I think it's north. Well, anyway, Bonnaroo is like a 2.5-hour drive away from Nashville. So when you fly in and out of Nashville when you work in Bonnaroo, you have to give yourself like the whole day to make sure that you can make your flight. So I got a ride out of Bonnaroo at the crack of dawn because you want to get on the road before it gets too hot because Bonnaroo is insanely oppressively muggy and hot. And then I was all day in Nashville with nothing to do, but also no car. So we just, get dropped off. We drop off our bags at the airport and then we Uber to the nearest bar where we were doing flights of moonshine where you buy like a bunch of little rocks glasses with a bunch of different moonshine flavors. And it's like drinking cider, like moonshine, really good moonshine. It tastes like it's so like sweet and delicious and smooth. It's like you're drinking a cider and you have no idea how hammered you are until you're at the airport and you can't even say your own name. You're like, Nikki Blakk is on the, just read the. But also it's Tennessee, so they're kind of used to it. Hey, Jacob. You hear I'm the new mayor of Oakland. No. And no, all Nickies don't think alike, but I'm guessing by what you're saying that there's a new mayor in Oakland and her name is Nikki. Cool. I mean, hopefully somebody will get Oakland together because Oakland needs it. Hey, Sherry. They said if you wanted to lower your garbage bill to get a smaller can. I already have the smallest can. That's what I said too. I was like, can we go to every other week pickup? Is that an option? I'm like, Audible has that, right? Because my Audible was like $15 a month, but then I found out that Audible has a program where it's only like $8 every other month. And I was like, yeah, can I get that? Can I get like the Audible every other month program or every other week program? Because I do not need my garbage picked up every week. I'm not a big garbagey person, I don't have a lot of trash. And they were like, no, you have the smallest can and we only pick up weekly. And I was like, well, whatever. You charge too much. I was nice to her as well. I was like, hey, listen, I was just calling a check because this seems kind of egregious. I knew they were raising rates, but I didn't think they were raising rates by this much. And then it turned out that they weren't, but they were still raising rates, just not by as much as I thought they were. I thought they were raising them like $13 a month and they were raising them like $8 a month, which still is a bit, right? Or not a month, sorry, per cycle. Oh yeah, Kartik. I mean, food banks. Jesus, yeah, it's bad if you're going to food banks at this point. Especially because I've noticed that when people feed the poor, they give them really poor food. As somebody who now has no refrigeration, I'm still living a non-refrigerated lifestyle. I do have the wine fridge, and the lower level of the wine fridge, I can get to 44 degrees for the white wines. Which I don't have. I mean, I have one rack of white wines and then a whole lower half of the wine fridge for it. So I've got the lower half of the wine fridge on the lowest setting that it can go to for sparkling wines, etc. And then I only have, like I said, the two wines that need to be that cold. But that's where all my cheese is right now. And then everything I'm eating is basically whole fruits and vegetables that I'm hoping I can go through before they spoil. Jacob, I did read in the news. Well, I didn't read in the newspaper because newspapers don't exist anymore. I'm kidding. They do. But I did read online that Stephen King is selling his he's got 3 radio stations in Bangor, Maine. And you used to follow him until you dreamt of his dog, Molly, the thing of evil. Dude, you should quit while you're ahead. Like some of these afterthoughts you have are just not translating well. But yes, you are right. Stephen King had 3 radio stations in Maine, and he basically was keeping them afloat. It was just like a charity basically for him. In fact, I'm a little surprised that he's just closing down all 3 stations because they are pretty much a community thing for him. And I would not be surprised if suddenly the Stephen King Media Trust was born. And that he kept at least one of those stations because at this point, that's what radio is going to be. It's going to be something that has to be subsidized by the community and by private interests. we're all going to be KQED now. We're pretty much, I mean, because basically everybody's dumping all their money into digital advertising. Meta is getting all the advertising, and it's getting harder and harder to convince people that Meta, that it's getting harder and harder to convince people that radio advertising works, and it's funny because I was just talking to the UC Theater about Exodus on Friday. Who's going to Exodus on Friday at the UC? What? And sure enough, they sponsored the Metal Zone. And I texted him today and was like, how are ticket sales looking? And he's like, they're looking great. I was like, did you still want me to do the giveaways? He's like, yeah, if you want to. So I'm going to do some social media giveaways. So watch my social media tomorrow for some last minute Exodus ticket giveaways. He's like, yeah, go ahead. He's all, but we had a really big bump when we did your radio advertisement. So we're good. And I'm like, see, motherfuckers. I don't know why everybody's not listening to me, but apparently I look like an idiot because people are constantly like treating me like an idiot. Did I tell you about the sales guy who explained to me that 3 times 5 is 15? That was special. Mansplaining. It's everywhere. Hey, Philip. So what's the outcome? Philip, I'm sorry. I don't know what I was saying when you typed that. What was I talking about? What's the outcome of what? Hi, Marty. What's hump day? I know, right? Especially for people who like work weekends or do enough on weekends to make it feel like work. Hi, Laura. You can still listen to me. I'm on the air right now. Even if you're not in the Bay, you can listen online or you can download the Bone app. But make sure that if you're downloading the Bone app, you type in 107.7 The Bone in the App Store. Otherwise, you're going to get some awkward results. Or you can go to 1077thebone.com and that'll link you right to download the app. Or you can listen at 1077thebone.com in a browser. And then you can hear it. We're still here. We're still here. Of course, tariffs are a stupid idea, Kartik. Oh my God. Has everyone seen the Ben Stein meme? It's epic. Holy shit. Do I have time to talk about it? I think I have time to play it for you guys. So far, it's been the only good thing that's come of TikTok. God, I hate TikTok so much. Come on. Oh, there it is. So, you guys,
the Republican-controlled House of Representatives.
Everyone remembers this, right?
The effects of the Great Depression passed the the tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which raised or raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression. In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort...
Why was that meme not everywhere before the election? Also, holy shit, Gen X. How did that get completely past us? I mean, how many times have we seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off and not realized that's what he was talking about? But also because that was the beauty of Ben Stein, right? Oh my God. Remember Ben Stein's game show? Oh my God. Ben Stein's game show used to be hilarious. But yes, tariffs are a stupid idea, bro. They really are. And the irony is that tariffs have a place. Tariffs can work in moderation, but it's nuanced and it requires a lot more than just a tariff. There's a lot of layers that need to come together, and a tariff needs to be like a very small part of a much larger trade package for it to make sense. And it's more than the average person can understand. So Trump being like 20%, 25% tariffs is the dumbest shit ever. But it's not the tariff's fault. It's the idiot trying to implement the tariffs when he doesn't understand basic finance. Dan, you have a friend that brews her own kombucha. Gross. I have a friend that brews her own kombucha too. And everyone you know that brews their own kombucha is constantly trying to give you a piece of it. That's how you know which friends of yours are brewing kombucha, because they will tell you and then they will try to give you some. And that's how they spread the fungus. If you like kombucha, go nuts. Me, not so much. The only time I've ever had kombucha is when I was already getting sick. That is the only time I can drink kombucha and not have it taste disgusting to me. Or if it's like drowning in sugar, but then that negates the purpose of drinking a healthy drink. You call it Marty, I'll bet you I'm going to say that wrong. Is it Poitín in Ireland? The illegal moonshine. Would I ever try mushroom coffee, Dan? I'd try it, but it doesn't sound like it's good for me. Jess, peach moonshine from Georgia is your favorite? I don't remember where the moonshine was from that I got, but I remember this one time that I barely remember. I was at, hold on. It's AC/DC on 107.7 The Bone with TNT. And AC/DC kind of blew up the internet with all those tour announcement rumors. And then they finally announced the tour and there's no Bay Area date. And I was holding out a teensy bit of hope that it might be that week after Golden Gate Park concert, you know, the Outside Lands week after concert. Last year it was System of a Down and the Deftones. But nope, they just announced that one today and it's Zach Bryan. Wah, wah. How am I suddenly going early? I guess it's not that early. It's only like 2 minutes, but still. Do I have anything short? Yeah, let's do this. And then let's do this. Yep. Okay. It's kind of funny how in the 80s, like everything was 3 minutes. It was like crazy to have a 5-minute song in the 80s. There we go. Okay. And mostly back on time. Hold on here. Oh, yeah, there we go. Now we're on time. Sweet. So this one time, Drowning Pool, that's who it was. Drowning Pool had just come through the South and they were in Vegas and I was in Vegas. And I think it was at the end of like a Viva Las Vegas weekend. And I met my friend Kirsty and we went to go see them at the Hard Rock, one of the clubs at the Hard Rock. And then afterwards we're hanging out on the bus and they had all these mason jars and they were telling us this story about how this was moonshine from some guy who was like the moonshine guy, and how he said that if he ever got busted again, he wasn't going to jail. He was going to off himself. And then he did get busted and then he did off himself and that this was his last batch. And I was like, well, you can't say no to that. And it was really delightful moonshine. And that is the last thing I remember before I woke up in a random hotel room at the Hard Rock. At least I still had my pants on. I was like, where are we? What happened? She's like, We drank a bunch of moonshine on the bus, and they gave us their room keys for the room that they had at the Hard Rock because the bus had to pull out. And I was like, I walked up here, and she's like, mostly. But I woke up, and it was like, I don't know. I want to say it was like 10 or 11 in the morning, and I had a flight like in an hour or something crazy like that. And man, how did I even make that flight? I basically like bolted down the stairs, all hungover, trying not to puke, hopped in a cab. It had to be a Viva Las Vegas because I remember I cabbed back to the Orleans, threw all my shit in the suitcase, and then jumped in another cab. And this was like early aughts, so it was pre-ride share. So I jumped in another cab to the airport and went running up there and just barely made my flight. I think I must have been, I know I had a checked bag, so I must have just barely made the luggage cut off. Or I missed my flight and I took the next one because sometimes that happened too. But that was my first time having moonshine, and I have feared no moonshine since. Hi, Justine. Oh yeah, how is your ear, Justine? My my piercing is still a little tender on this one. This one's fine though. But I lost another earring. Oh my God, you guys. Remember when I got my ears pierced at Green Day backstage? They had that big end of tour party where they were piercing ears and tattooing people. So I got my ears pierced like up here. Can you see it? No, you can't. My hair's in the way. So I got them pierced up here, right? And then the piercing studs flew out. Can't find them. And then so I put in these earrings, right? One of these flew out and I can't find it. I can only find the back. And somewhere in my room is this other earring. So I grabbed another just random stud out of the closet because I keep random studs in the closet. And that's this one, and just shoved it in the hole. But it's clearly not a good piercing stud because it's a little tender. Hey, Brett. ZZ Top did a live DVD from Bonnaroo. Interesting. You know who I saw at Bonnaroo that I never thought I would see at Bonnaroo? Slayer. I was not there the year ZZ Top was there, though. I only did 2 Bonnaroos, and that was almost too many. Bonnaroo is a rough one. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of long days, and it's a lot of rough conditions. I got a love-hate relationship with the Southerners right now. I love them on an individual basis, but collectively, we fighting. I'm fighting with all the red states, though. If abortion is illegal in your state, we got beef. That's just facts. Oh, you got a checkup coming up, Justine. But how does it feel? Does it feel like it's getting better? Marlon, you had moonshine from Montana. Yeah, see, that's the thing is I feel like moonshine is not supposed to punch you. I feel like it's supposed to be like delicious. And somewhere along the way, it got this reputation of being like unpleasant tasting. Tom, you live in Oakland, and the interim mayor will probably be Dan Kalb. I mean, I got to be honest, Oakland's got so many problems that whoever takes over is probably going to be thankless for whatever they do in the short term. We've got long-term problems. Hi, Christopher. Kartik, actually. What did I say? Did I not say Kartik? Did I start saying something else? I'm crazy. Oh, yeah. What's not to love about wine? Also, my dad lived in Napa ever since the divorce. He only moved like a couple years ago. So wine was everywhere. Sherry, you pay $160 per 3 months? $160. How big is your garbage can? I have the little teeny tiny 20-gallon can, but I'm just one person. In fact, my cats make more trash than I do because most of my shit's recyclable, but kitty litter is not. Marlon, I need to GoFundMe for a new fridge. No, I don't. I can buy a new fridge. I just can't buy a new fridge yet. So, I look like I'm in my 20s. That's got to be some good lighting or something, because no, I'm in my 50s. No, Marlon, what it is that I have to go through this process before I can upgrade the power panel, and I don't want to replace the fridge until I've taken care of the power issues. So I'm just using the wine fridge in the interim and then going basically fridgeless. And the PG&E doesn't have an available date for me to do the power cutoff that needs to be done for the panel upgrade until December 22nd. Plus, I'm also in the process of getting permits for the panel. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but when I went to apply for the panel permit, they were like, no, you've still got an outstanding permit for your kitchen remodel. And I was like, what? So I called and she was like, oh, you know what? She's like, the thing on this, you're not even supposed to do that. We don't even do that anymore. So then that agent, permit agent, sent an email and CC'd me on it to the other permit agent saying, hey, I just talked to her and it should be fine. Go ahead and issue the permit. And then I just made the payment for the permit today. So hopefully they will issue the permit shortly. And then I'll get confirmation from the electrician that he can do it on the 22nd. And then I'm still waiting to hear back from PG&E, because PG&E makes you fill out a form online, and then you wait 3 to 10 business days for PG&E to contact you. Like, the first potential date was December 22nd. So yeah, I'm not going to get my power fixed until then. And I just don't want to take the chance on putting a new fridge in there and having the power issue rear its ugly head, even though the electrician did move some circuitry around so that it shouldn't be a problem. I just don't want to take that chance, because part of what it is the refrigerator circuit board. This is the second time that refrigerator circuit board's blown. I replaced it the first time and it was like $1,000. So here I am a year later with the same problem happening because we didn't know that there was the underlying power issue causing it. Does that make sense? That seems really complicated. But at any point, I can afford to buy a fridge. I just have to go through the permitting process and get the power upgraded before I want to buy the fridge. If one more station goes talk radio, oh, I'm sorry, Justine. I know it's ugly out there for radio right now. I mean, it's always been kind of ugly in radio, but it's real ugly right now. We'll see. My mic light is on. Does that matter? Well, it matters in the sense that my microphone is on. Bink. And then my microphone is off. I have the board in bypass, and what that means is that whatever I do on the board right now is not going to affect the on-air product. So if my microphone is on right now, it doesn't matter because it's not live. The board's been taken out. It's been bypassed to the air feed. I could push a button and put the board back into the air feed, but it's just easier, and at this point kind of safer for me to record into the system. So now when I record, when you hear me record, it goes into the computer system and then the computer plays it over the air, as opposed to what we did before, which is stopping the computer, turning on the microphone, and then talking and then going back to the computer. It's 2 routes to reach the same destination. Right, John? Who isn't going to Exodus on Friday? It's going to be sick. Friday night. Oh, my shift, Philip? What was the first half of that question? Bro, you got to give me more context than that. I can't keep track. Okay. You said, so what's the outcome of my shift? Oh, did you come in when I was telling the story about 2011 when I got bumped to nights when Motley Crue was playing at the Bill Graham Civic? And what was his name? Bill something started with a P. I was talking to Andy about it because Andy, I think I don't think Andy was actually still at Cumulus when it happened, but Andy used to work here, so he knows, and he's still in radio, so he definitely knows. But yeah, no, that was a story from 2011, not now. My shift right now is exactly the same, but because of the history of radio, That's how radio goes. Like, that's just radio. Like, all these people out there, like, living a shocked life that Lamont and Snelly were not renewed after 35 years in the Bay Area and 20-ish, 25 years on the bone. What year was it? 2004. So 20 years on the bone. I mean, I get it. I feel you. It is a shock to lose an institution like that. However, if you've paid attention to radio at all, you know that everybody gets fired, and it's very unceremonious when it happens. Go watch the first episode of WKRP in Cincinnati when Andy Travis comes into the booth and tells Dr. Johnny Fever that he doesn't have to play this shit anymore. He can play rock and roll now. And he literally rips the vinyl off the turntable and starts playing rock and roll. That's how format changes pretty much happen now, except there's like an HR representative who fires everybody in the corner. But that's how radio has been always. And we've been really lucky to have not been touched by it until now. And now we are touched. We have been touched. And it's a process, getting through it. Because for those of us who are still here, we got the survivor's guilt plus the paranoia, right? Like, is it going to happen to me? Are we done here? Or could I still get, the axe? Anything's possible. But at this point, I think we're looking at, myself, Shasta Baby Huey holding it down in mornings, Tony Sandoval doing weekends and helping out on weekdays, and Dennis Willis doing weekends. And we're going to keep it going as long as we can, as long as they let us, as long as you guys are listening. So I have seen some, hold on, let me do this. I'm going to. It's Tom Petty's Free Fallin' on the Rock of the Bay. I'm Nikki Blakk, and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers just released live in Edinburgh in 1982, the Gennaro tapes, and it just dropped last week, and I'm told that this is one of the best bootlegs out there of Tom Petty. Like, it's supposed to be literally from the sound guy's personal collection type of thing, one of his favorite bootleg tapes, and now it's available to the public. All right, there we go. So what I was going to say is, while I am here with all the sympathy in the world, 100% for everybody who's been hurt by the removal of Lamont and Snelly from 107.7 The Bone, myself included, I also have to be like, don't abandon the station because of it. Because here's what's going to happen. If everybody is like, well, if Lamont and Snelly aren't there, we're not going to listen, this station will disappear. If ratings go down significantly and we can't recover and we're not generating enough revenue to keep paying the bills, then another rock station is going to flip Spanish or whatever they flip it. Because that's the reality of radio these days. Long gone are the days of corporations coming in and scooping up all these radio properties. What's going to happen is either we're going to survive as a rock radio station or we're not. So I hope that people can have two things be true. We can be really upset that Lamont and Snelly aren't on in the mornings, and we can still be a bonehead family. I hope. Marty, you love metal, but you never got into Exodus or Testament. How dare you, sir? How dare you waltz into the heart of the Bay Area and say you never got into Exodus or Testament? Oh, come on, bro. Just don't tell people. PJ, you can be caller 9 and still win. I don't know what you're winning, bro, but good on you. So when it comes down to my shift, Philip, I'm going to keep showing up at 2 and hoping for the best. I mean, to be honest, when I first got hired at 1077 The Bone back in 2005, it was the same way. I showed up every day and just hoped that I was still showing up the next day. And then there was that one day when I got bumped to nights, not all the way out the door, but that was tough. There was the day I didn't even walk into KSJO. I got a phone call of like, yeah, the station's flipping Spanish tonight. And I was like, what? So it's the nature of the beast. Dan, you think TikTok is better than Snapchat? You may not be wrong on that one. I hate Snapchat too. I hate Snapchat and TikTok pretty equally. But I actually make an effort to post on TikTok, whereas I make zero effort to post on Snapchat. Maybe I should try and post on Snapchat again. I hear that's where all the kids are. We need a younger audience so that we can sell more advertising. We need to prove to advertisers that people under 50 are still listening to the radio, and that's a tough thing to do. I don't know if you know this, but the demographic that advertisers are desperate for is people 25 to 54. So I've almost aged out of our demo as somebody who matters. Although as a woman, I stopped mattering after 40. Yeah, the last thing anybody needs is a trade war. It's not good. What we need is trade negotiations. But that requires nuance, intellect, and a lack of ego. We'll have to see what happens there. Philip, you can't bring the kids. Come on, it's the UC Theater. Marty, what about giving billions to other countries for wars? Doesn't matter who's in power, they all work for the same people. Oh, Marty, you know what? That's not true. Not true at all. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're about to see a whole different attitude toward Russia and the Ukraine right now, not to mention a hugely different attitude towards Israel. I don't know if you remember the first time around when Trump just gave Netanyahu Jerusalem for the American embassy. It was like, oh yeah, we'll just put an American embassy in Jerusalem. Why not? And then, totally just made it clear that he had no idea what the two-state solution was. Oh, sweetie, no, there's a big fucking difference. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure that no democratically appointed Supreme Court justice ever considered overturning Roe versus Wade. Those are just a handful of like really significant differences right off the top of my head that we need to stop with the false equivalency. We need to stop with this, it's all the same bullshit, because it ain't. It fucking ain't. And I'm done with that shit. I was done with it in 2016. I'm done with it now. I just don't harp on it as much as I used to because people are stupid and I'm tired of arguing with stupid people. But let me just say, and I'm not talking about you, I'm saying in general, I have dialed it down a lot because I ain't got time for it. But there is a very big difference. And if you don't see the difference, let me know and I'm happy to point it out to you. The 80s ruled. The 80s ruled because we didn't have to pay bills. That was somebody else's job. I got to be honest, like a lot of what sucks nowadays is the fact that we all got to pay bills, and now I'm, instead of staring down the barrel of like a whole life ahead of me, I'm staring down the barrel of like, what's my earning potential going to be like in 10 years when I'm trying to retire? Do I have enough money set aside to survive? What if I develop a health issue? Will I be screwed? So the 80s ruled for a lot of reasons, but most of them are because we were young. Justine, imagine how long Purple Rain was with Prince's 8-minute guitar solo. I don't have to. I saw it. I saw it live a few times. Prince was amazing. I worked with Prince at the Fillmore a couple of times. I didn't get past, saying hello or how are you or can I get you anything or is everything good kind of thing. You know, it was very, very limited interactions, but I did make sure to like smile and say hello whenever I walked by because he's fucking Prince. Money for Nothing from Dire Straits was like 8 minutes long. Yeah. Yeah. Notice how often we play it? Hey, Johnny. Right, John? Philip can do both. Get a sitter, brah. Sherry, oh, you like my stories? You saw Drowning Pool at Aftershock? They didn't have the moonshine. Well, yeah, that's because this was the special moonshine from the guy who was the guy, and then he died, and this was the last batch. So there was never going to be moonshine from that guy ever again. And I remember being like really impressed with how delightful that moonshine was. We drank all of it. I think they were flying the next day. I think they had to drive to LA and then they were going to fly, and they were like, yeah, we can't take it with us, so we're drinking it tonight. And I was like, yes, we are. Right, Justine? How did they fall out? I think that the piercing stud just came loose. I think it was just in there, like slowly unscrewing itself. And then it got caught in a sweater that I was pulling over my head and just flipped out. So your ear still hurts. They put a cotton swab in to make a tunnel for the meds. Oh, I hope it feels better. Marty, you think I'm pro killing babies? Well, serious question. Do you know the difference between a baby and a fetus? Because a baby can stay alive outside of a womb and a fetus cannot. I don't know if you're familiar with the laws here in the US, but there's no such thing as fetal viability in a 20-week-old fetus. And all abortions outside of those to save the life of the mother or for a lack of viability in the fetus are performed before 20 weeks. 99% of abortions in the US are performed before 13 weeks. If I showed you a 13-week-old fetus and then I showed you a blood clot, you would not be able to tell the difference between those two. So I am pro killing things that look like blood clots that are attached to a woman's uterus that have no semblance of life or viability outside the womb. That is what I am pro killing. Killing. When really it's more of a removal. God, why is it the men who know the least about pregnancy are always the ones trying to regulate it? Oh, you meant gauze, not cotton. Gotcha. Hey, Bobby. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you, Philip. Oh, I was telling a story before. You got to do the eardrops, Justine. Yeah, now that we reminded you, right? WKRP will always be remembered from this. God is my witness. I thought turkeys could fly. That will never get old. Marty, you want to know if I'm married or if I have children? I have been married. I am no longer married, and I do not have children, nor do I want children, nor have I ever wanted children. Bobby, it's scary you got laid off at a radio station in Reno. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Which one? Dot? Not the Dot. Tom, you're waiting for me to get my own Sirius channel. You know what's funny is back in the day, I actually, because I have friends on Sirius, and multiple times those friends have recommended me to Sirius, and it's never gotten past like the phone call phase. So, but also there's a very big difference between satellite radio and terrestrial radio. For example, I am actually here. I am here and I am on the air. Whereas at Sirius, they're not live unless they want to be. Like Jose can go live whenever he wants. He's got his own setup and he's the guy in charge. But most of the other jocks that you hear on Sirius XM radio, they're just recording everything all at once. and they've got to record like 12 hours at a time, and then they don't make like a living wage doing it. It's more of a side gig. This is like a real job. Real job. But also, Tom, as long as I'm with the bone, I can't work for Sirius. Cumulus would have a real problem with that. Let me see what's new with Pearl Jam real quick here. I feel like there was something happening, right? No? Maybe there is nothing new with Pearl Jam. Nah, I don't like any of that. You know what, guys? Sometimes it's really hard to figure out what I want to say on the air. Oh my God, they're coming for PBS, you guys. The PBS budget is so not significant. Hang on a second. Oh, when does this come out? Christmas. Oh, all right. 1077 The Bone with Survivor's Eye of the Tiger. I'm Nikki Blakk, and that song always makes me feel like I need to work out, and then I don't. Bob Dylan is praising Timothée Chalamet for his portrayal of Bob Dylan in the biopic called A Complete Unknown, which drops at Christmas time. To be fair, though, Bob Dylan also played a very, very strong role in advising the film. So I'm pretty sure that if Timothée Chalamet was not doing Bob Dylan justice, Timothée Chalamet would not have been playing Bob Dylan. All right, let's see. Running out of time here, folks. I got to do some stuff and get ready to head out. Let's see. Where were we? Oh, thanks, Bobby. Again, I do still have a job. I'm fine. I love 1077 The Bone. I'm happy to be here. I was telling stories earlier about other times in radio that I had been fired or had a station flip format or whatever. So, as far as I know, everything is as stable as it can be in radio here for right now. So you don't worry about me, guys. It'll be fine, whatever it is that happens. Oh, well, yeah, 80s metal still very much the best. Although every once in a while I'll hear something, I'll be like, oh, did we do that? Okay, I remember that being cooler. Dan, you graduated high school in 2005? Congratulations, brother. I am not going to get you started on Tumblr because we all know Tumblr went downhill when they stopped having porn. Tumblr porn used to be awesome. Marty, I actually touched on who runs the world, and you're far from stupid on this matter. Are you? Because did you hear the part where I said I'm not talking about you personally? I'm talking about other people in general. You're not making the case for yourself not being stupid if you think I called you stupid when I very clearly did not. Who owns everything? Follow the roots of the big money. Well, the big money would be the billionaires. You know, like Elon Musk, who's about to have a position in government as the richest man in the world because of Donald Trump. He has no business being in government, but he did just buy his way there, and here we are. I don't know what your point is, Marty. Did anybody in the last couple Democratic administrations appoint any billionaires? Because this is Trump's second administration where he's just appointed billionaires to positions that they were unqualified for. Betsy DeVos was not qualified to run education, and she ran it into the ground, and here we are. And now we've got another billionaire being appointed to a department that doesn't exist. We're creating more bureaucracy just to give this billionaire a government position of authority. Jesus, that's dumb. Jess, I did not go to King Diamond. I had to take some time off. I needed sleep, and as you can see, I am much happier for it. So I did miss a couple of shows last week that I didn't want to miss, but I had to do it. John, I know, right? What a weird thing to ask someone. I guarantee you he wouldn't ask a man that. No one asks men if they're married, except women that they're trying to date. And then they lie. If I had a nickel for every time I got hit on by a married guy. Just FYI, ladies, no one wants your man. He's the one hitting on her. Philip, you don't get your daughter till 7 and then you drive in traffic from Gilroy. Ugh. That's terrible. We're just giving you shit, dude. I wish you could make it. If you guys are too tired, I get it. Like I said, last week I missed a couple of shows I really wanted to go to because I needed sleep. Oh, wow, Marlon. That's deep. That's a deep musical preference. Yeah, dude, commuting from Gilroy sucks. Can't you guys meet halfway? Ugh. Thanks, Sherry. Marty, a cis male is a person who was born male. It's a dude. Justine, you had to you missed too much. You're going to have to watch it again. It's getting weird in here, though. I'll tell you that much. Marty's trying to be all like, I know things and stuff about world economic and politic and stuff, but it's actually all about the Jews who run the world kind of thing. He's getting conspiracy-ish. He's one of those people that thinks he knows what he's talking about, but when challenged, actually can't present the case. It's kind of disappointing. But he's one of those people, I assume, from what I've seen here, who has a handful of like catchphrases that when he puts them out in a comment, he's used to hearing other people say, oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, totally. And I'm not going to do that because I actually study this stuff and I kind of know about it. BT Dubs, speaking of world economic politics and global effect, did anybody see that France just voted no confidence in their leader? If you will remember that from, I don't know, Star Wars Phantom Menace or one of those shitty prequels. The prime minister is out of power and the government is in flux until they figure it out. It's kind of crazy over there right now. Speaking of global economic destabilization, and the far right party is loving the chaos. Marie Le Pen is out front, just like trying not to hold a Nuremberg rally on the steps of Versailles. It's crazy. Oh, thanks, Kartik. You don't have to agree with me. You can totally disagree with me. You just have to be able to support what you say. Or face my wrath. My wrath is just me yelling at you about shit. I mean, I don't think I've disagreed with anything you've said. Have I? I know, right, Justine? I mean, honestly. Oh, really? Is Justin Trudeau unpopular? I mean, as far as world leaders go, he's kind of cute. And I mean, Barbara Streisand used to date his dad. He's better than Trump. You know, it's all right. I mean, he did do that blackface thing at that one point. You know, who else you got is what I'm saying. Sometimes the devil, you know. I mean, I was no Biden fan, but look here where we are now. Nuts. Nuts. Hey, Aaron. I am good. I am good. I have been getting some great sleep lately, and it's been awesome. John, you have said a mouthful, brother. Critical thinking died years ago, and there were very few mourners. Brother, you preaching the choir on that one. And you know what's funny is I used to not feel like I had a responsibility to be crazy informed. I was casually informed. And when it got down to the choice between Clinton and Trump, I was one of the very first people to be like, oh man, I don't like her. Why did it have to be her? You know? But then I started like really drilling down into everything that they said she did. And it turns out it's all smoke and mirrors. Like it was all bullshit. You know, the whole email scandal, the Bush administration lost 100,000 emails. You want to talk about unsecure servers? The Bush administration was doing top secret war shit on AOL Instant Messenger. And we're like over here trying to crucify Clinton for a fucking private server that was in her home. I mean, yeah. And then there was that whole like, the Clinton Foundation is, you know, super crooked. No, the Trump charity was crooked to the point where the Trump family aren't allowed to have a charity ever again because they stole from their own charity. And it's great. It's better than that. Trump literally took money from his charity and bought portraits of himself for tens of thousands of dollars. Portraits, plural, by the way, not just one. Like, holy shit. Yeah. So way back in 2016, we had all this information and everybody ignored it. And we had it again this time and everyone ignored it. And I'm just pretty convinced now that people want to feel smart more than they want to actually be smart. And then you got people like, what's his name? Marty appears to have tapped out at this point. But then you get people like Marty who think they're smart until somebody points out or challenges what they believe, and then they realize they're not. And then they run away and scurry into another area where they will get the confirmation bias that they seek. And he can walk in and be like, you know, they're all the same. They all work for the same man. No, they don't. Follow the money, dude. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of sad to know that there are more people like that than there are not. And honestly, no one has to feel stupid. You just have to know that there are things you don't know. And if you don't know them, don't pretend you do. Don't feel like you need to puff up and pretend you know something that you don't to impress somebody that you've never met. Because we can all talk about other shit. But Marty here wanted to bring up politics. Marlon, you think this is like an old Yahoo chat room? I didn't do those. I don't know. I missed it. Oh, thanks, Aaron. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, as much as I hated missing King Diamond and hated missing LA Guns and hated missing Zach Sabbath last week. Yeah, 3 shows I was supposed to go to, and I just stayed home in my PJs and went to bed early. And all this week, I got news for you. When I get out of here, I am gonna go home, make and eat a salad, hit the treadmill, watch TV for about 45 minutes, and then I'm gonna go back to bed, read a book, and fall asleep. And sleep for probably 10 hours. I am in full hibernation mode, and there does not seem to be a way out of it, because I'll set alarm after alarm after alarm every morning and be like, get up, it's 8, get up. And my body is just like this eye won't open most of the time. No, wait, it's this one. Yeah, this eye won't open in the mornings. I don't know how to explain it, but I do have all my doctor's appointments set up for January, so I'm going to try and see if they can explain it. And I'm just going to pay for whatever it costs, provided we still have a job here. I'm just going to pay to have all my blood panels and hormone panels done on like a 3 to 5 week basis, whatever it is that they think is going to figure it out, to try and figure out what's going on. Hey, Johnny, you're barbecuing? It's awful cold for queuing. He's not photogenic. Justine, you're hilarious. You know what? I think the electrical issues are helping, because things have been simplified. When you don't have options and you're like, well, guess I'm reading books now. You're just reading books. No, I have power. The electrician came out and he adjusted some circuits. If you know anything about electrical, he adjusted some of the circuitry on the bar, so that what apparently was happening was the amperage was overloading one area, one circuit, or one or two circuits on the bar, and they were next to each other, just like arcing, and it was very dangerous. So he rewired some things, rearranged the bus, is what they tell me, and so I can use the heat. I can watch TV. I can, I'm just not doing. I'm not doing a lot of things while the heater's on, because I think the heater uses a lot of amperage, and I don't want to tempt fate. Kartik, you're ambivalent towards politics. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I would love to just feel that way still, right? I mean, I would love to be back where I was in 2015, where I was exactly you, man. I was ambivalent towards politics. He says, as long as policies encourage free markets and free trade and promote civil liberties, I'm cool. I was right there with you, brother. I thought Roe v. Wade was protected. I thought nobody could be crazy enough to like destabilize the global economy just to boost the stock market. Yeah, I thought a lot of things were protected that are very much not protected. This is what we're finding out, right? It's kind of like when you grow up and you realize your parents don't know everything. Well, when you get to be an adult and you realize that the government does not have people on top of that at all, and that these people don't know anything you don't know, it's pretty scary. Where were we? Aha. It's the Red Hot Chili Peppers on 107.7 The Bone. I'm Nikki Blakk, and we do love to give it away around here. I'm talking about tickets, If you're listening tomorrow in the 3 o'clock hour, I will be giving away tickets to see comedian Sebastian Maniscalco at this SAP Center in San Jose on February 1st. Those tickets are on sale now at livenation.com, but if you're listening in the 3 o'clock hour tomorrow, you'll have a chance to win them. All right. Yeah, also, you know what? Not since the 80s have we seen a rise of like casual right-wingism, far-right extremism like we have now. Like, I don't know if I've said it before, Italy's got a far-right leader. France's far-right leader is doing a happy dance that they've just ousted the prime minister. Australia has a far-right leader, like far-right. And now we do. Now America has a far-right leader. So far-right parties are really taking over. Oh, okay. Marty, you're still here? If you don't get it, there's no point trying to explain it. By the way, I brought up politics first. Yeah, whatever, dude. I brought up politics in general, or I don't care. If I don't get it, what is it you think I don't get? I mean, you're the one who asked me if I was like into killing babies, and and then started using like a lot of what I like to consider far right coded language. So I would say you're the one not getting it, bruh, because I did give you several examples of things that refuted your pretty generic right wing coded kind of statements, but whatever. If you think I don't get it, explain it to me. I'm here. I mean, well, I'm usually here, but I am on my way out at this point. So if you can type fast, explain it to me. And if you can't, feel free to put in an email. I have remarkable taste in music. Thanks. Who doesn't love metal? Oh yeah, Justine. Well, the thing was, I think I told you, Justine, was that I wanted to wait until my deductible was brand new, right? Because if I start spending money on medical expenses right now, my deductible will start over in January. So that money will just disappear because I'll never make the deductible in time. But if I start in January with all the appointments and the testing and everything, I might hit my deductible early in the year, and then ta-da, I'll be able to get all that medical care without like throwing the money into the deductible black hole like I would be over these next couple of months. Johnny, no more all-nighters on chocolate mushrooms and crystal meth. I never really got into crystal meth. I grew up in Fairfield where it was all just crank, which was fine with me. But if you were here yesterday, you know that I really have not done any white powder drugs since '94 because I decided that espresso tastes better and pretty much accomplishes the same thing. Aaron, people want to feel smart more than people want to be smart. Yeah. You get me, right, on that one? Feeling like it's getting crazier by the hour. It is. It is. And hibernation is a nice way to go with that. And when we're looking at like world issues, it's not that I don't want to be aware of world issues. I am, but I got to take a tip from the alcoholics at that point, right? And accept the things I can't change and change the things I can. And the things I can change are on a smaller level. They're more of the things that are right in front of me. I can affect myself. I can share information with you guys. I can be a better person in my choices as best I can. I can't affect anything happening in Washington starting next year. I can only just try to minimize its impact on me and the fallout. And frankly, its impact is already kind of minimized with me because I'm in a pretty safe position compared to most people. Hi, Kevin. Yeah, Kevin, I will be giving away some Exodus tickets. Follow my socials tomorrow. I'm working on trying to figure out if I can do an actual contesting page at nikkiblakk.com, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pull it off by tomorrow morning. So if I don't, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just post. I'll do a post on Facebook and I'll do a post on Instagram, and it'll be like comment below and I'll pick a random number and that person's going to win tickets. So just keep an eye on my Facebook and my Instagram sometime tomorrow. I'll let it go for like tomorrow morning to Friday morning, and I'll pull winners Friday morning. Kartik, you're center right. Yeah, I don't think anybody needs to be. I think it depends on where you are. I think it depends on the issue, right? I think it's time, and I think that's what's wrong with politics is everybody's choosing up a side or picking a team instead of learning the issues. And oh, Marty says get out of your I'm right bubble and do some real research and come back to me. No, Marty, I've already done the real research. You do some real research and get back to me, because so far you've come up with fuck all. All you've done is say follow the money. Okay, I followed the money and I haven't seen you following the money back to me. So let me know when you followed the money and decided, what that has to do with everything being the same. I've already illustrated the foreign policy differences between the administrations. So they're not following the same warmongers. Yeah, let me know when you got something, buddy. Not the other way around. Thanks, Justine. Oh, Dan, you're sweet, but I wouldn't go that far. Although I am going to try to be. I am going to work harder in the new year to support metal. Yeah, money does matter everywhere and to everyone. Obviously, right? we all need to be self-sustaining, and that's not easy. God, I should really write that financial advice book. I'm constantly having this conversation with people. If you live small, you don't need as much money to survive, which is why I'm in a pretty good position. Like, I leveraged myself hard and worked my ass off 20 years ago to buy a house in the Bay Area. And I didn't upgrade my house to another house that was going to have higher property taxes and higher payments and take longer to pay off. I stayed in my house for the last 20 years, and I'm working on my house. Right. I mean, so, and I'm not driving a fancy new car either. Right. My car is a 2005 Honda, and I paid $3,000 cash for it like 5 years ago. It's already more than paid for itself. No one should have a car payment. Like, honestly, in this economy, in this day and age, unless you are making a really good amount of money. And even then, it's just unnecessary. Like, I could buy a new car if I wanted to, but why would I? Like, it's my goal to have no subscriptions, no monthly payments, nothing. Like, I want to just have money come in and spend it when I want to spend it. So if you've got anything on subscription right now, dump it or pay for it yearly. Yes, exactly, Aaron. Yeah, I'm anticipating next year to just be kind of nuts. I mean, honestly, next year is going to be more of a dog and pony show because the Biden fiscal policies will still be in effect until next November. So fiscally, it's not going to be that crazy. Hang on a second. Okay. It's AC/DC on 107.7 The Bone. I'm Nikki Blakk, and I will tell you, I was kind of hoping that AC/DC, when they announced their North American tour, would have a Bay Area date. And when they didn't, I was still kind of holding out hope that it might be that show that they're doing it after Outside Lands, the week after they did System of a Down last year. And nope, it's not that one either. That is now going to be the Zac Brown Band. So I still have a little glimmer of hope that maybe AC/DC will get announced for Aftershock. It's a possibility, but at this point, who knows? Okay. All right, so now I'm going to push the button. Now, if the mic light comes on, it's important. All right. Where were we? Yeah, Aaron, I mean, like I was saying, fiscal policy will still be in effect until next November. So a lot of what we're going to see is going to be the dog and pony show. And honestly, a lot of my friends were like freaking out over every cabinet pick. And I'm like, don't. Stop. Why? Right? A, he hasn't been inaugurated yet. So all these cabinet picks are speculation. B, we already know each one is going to be more outlandish than the next. C, ain't nothing we can do about it. You're just going to have to give that man the rope and let him hang himself. And if he chooses yet another cabinet of clowns, it'll be just like last time's cabinet of clowns, only worse because last time there were at least a handful of qualified people. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I have just been going home and going to sleep every day. Just sleep.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah? You got a haircut. It looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I still have to send that email.
Okay. See you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
So yeah, so I don't waste my time with any of that news. I do spend my time with mostly world news because most Americans don't. And you kind of learn a lot more on the world news than you do on the American news because American news is too alarmist. You know, that's what's funny is people always accuse me of being like this like crazy liberal who watches CNN and MSNBC and whatnot. I don't watch any of them. I watch the international news. I watch, you know, BBC and Al Jazeera and France 24, and I get a lot of better positioning. I get a lot of different viewpoints, and I get a lot more information than I would if I watched American news. So again, the less you watch of the dog and pony show part, the better. The more you pay attention to policy, the better, because the policies are what's going to affect you. And honestly, there's going to be a whole lot of like, oh my God, proposed this. Oh my God, proposed that. Honestly, they can propose anything they want, but they still got to get it through Congress. And I know that there's been a shift in Congress and that they've got a better chance of getting things through, but also they still got to get it through. So I'm not going to sweat because all my representatives are already going to vote in my interests. So what am I going to do? That's the only option I have, right? When things like this happen, you can only contact your representatives and ask them to vote the same way you want them to vote. My reps already do that. So I'm paying attention to issues as they happen, not as they're proposed. And I'm getting my news from the international sources, not from the American sources. And it's a little more sanity there, a lot less panic. It's okay to hate money, Dan, but it's better to have, you know, a firm grasp of it and you manage the money and don't let the money manage you. It's just a stress reliever. Thanks, Marty. I'm glad you agree about the payments. Hi, Golan. I think that anybody, if you have any payments at all, job one should be to get rid of all your payments. I know that sounds like crazy talk, but truth. I paid off all my credit cards in the 90s and was like, never again. I pay off my credit cards at the end of every month, regardless, in full. And I actually make money on my credit cards every year now. I only have a handful of subscriptions, you know, like streaming services and stuff. And I actually have those attached to a credit card that I get credited back for them. So I don't have much in the way of monthly payments. In fact, I'm pissed right now because my iPhone is out of Apple Care warranty and they're charging me $10 a month for Apple Care on my iPhone now. And I'm just like, grrr, because I'm the no subscriptions person. I either pay for the year in advance or I don't fucking have it, because we're getting caught as Americans in this like subscription lifestyle. And every time I turn around, like whether it's Pro Tools or I was going to get an Aura ring, right? Like the ring that monitors your sleep cycles and that sort of thing. And now that's subscription only. It's a fucking Fitbit. It's basically a Fitbit in a ring. And now you have to have a $5 a month subscription to just to read it. Like, no, I don't. So yeah, job one is to get rid of all recurring monthly payments. However, whatever it takes. Break them down one at a time, pay them off, be done with them, cancel subscriptions, pay off things that you're paying on, and be done. It's the only way to stay human. Jacob, do I think the cost of starting a family will go up? Yes, the cost of everything will go up in perpetuity, exponentially, forever. Hang on, I need to. Okay. Justine, do I know the name of the song the Midday Crew played toward the end of the shift? Oh God, honey, no. I have no idea. On Monday, definitely no idea. Sorry. Normally I'd say if you hum a few bars, I might be able to figure it out, but if you can remember any kind of lyrics, I could try and help you. Thanks, guys. I know I've stayed on way too late. Now I'm going to be home late because I got a bunch of work to do. Aaron, just looking at the cabinet, it's a rogues gallery. Yeah, it's a clown car, dude. It's a total clown car. So, like, don't watch the circus because there's nothing good for you there. You can't do anything about it. And all it's going to do is, distract you with the dog and pony show. Focus on the issues, not on the people, because those people are there to distract you from the issues. Marty, all news channels in most countries are not pushing propaganda. There's a way to tell what's been propagandized and what hasn't. It's called critical thinking. And as a journalism major, I have a degree in it. So I'm able to listen to the different newscasts across the countries, and I can hear what's propaganda and what's news. And I'll hear some propagandized conversation, but you can kind of read between the lines to get to the fact. And the BBC, like specifically, because that's my favorite one. That's the one it's just the easiest for me to go to. Will be presenting both sides. So you'll hear the propagandized versions. They'll be like, here's so-and-so on this side of the argument. Here's so-and-so on this side of the argument. And then in the middle, they'll have like the moderator fact checking. No, Marty, it's not rampant since COVID. It's rampant since the dawn of time. Google the yellow journalism scandal of the 1860s. Go Google yellow journalism. Check in tomorrow. I got work to do. I got to go home. Hi, Jason. No, it's not a dumb question, Justine. If I had time to try and figure out what it was, I would help you figure out what it is. But I've already stayed so late, you guys. Now I'm not gonna get dinner until like 8:30. And I'm getting hungry because all I had today was a salad. And so it's good. I still have work to do here. Once I'm done here, I still have work to do here before I can leave. And then I have to drive an hour home. And then I have to make dinner. And by the time all that happens, at this point, I'm eating dinner at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. So, mwah, mwah. Love you guys. Talk soon.